Welcome to AUTOTECH'S Got Talent, where the best early-stage automotive technology companies battle it out for the win as they face off over 10 weeks. You helped to nominate the companies, you will help to decide the winner. The winning company will receive an offer of a $100,000 investment from Automotive Ventures. I'm excited to welcome Nate Sanel from Bank My Bike as one of our 10 AUTOTECH'S Got Talent finalists. Bank My Bike is a dealer-to-dealer service that enables any dealership to quickly find out the exact wholesale value with a purchase guarantee of any specific motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side, or any other powersports vehicle. Call, text, or fill out your quote form, and they will provide you a wholesale purchase figure within minutes. They pay quickly and will pick it up or arrange the shipping from anywhere in the continental USA. The rules for today are simple. The contestant has 5 minutes to pitch. They'll get a 1-minute warning from me and will be cut off at the 5-minute mark. Then our judges will have 5 minutes for Q&A, after which we'll ask the judges to vote. Then, for the following week, we'll ask you for your vote. You help us pick the winning company. With that, I'll hand the mic over to Nate from Bank My Bike to get started. I look forward to hearing his pitch.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. As Steve said, I'm Nathan Sanel. I'm the founder and president of National Powersports, and I'm the CEO of Bank My Bike. To start, let's go back to that terrible day almost 20 years ago. The events of September 11 didn't just shake me up emotionally, they also shook me up financially. I had been making enough money finally to start investing, and I was putting $500 a month into mutual funds, hoping for a great retirement. Well, after I watched that investment disappear, I lost all my confidence to continue investing in that manner. It just didn't make sense to me. So the following month, I took that $500 and I put an ad in the newspaper that said, "I buy motorcycles, mopeds, and scooters. I'll pick it up and I'll pay you cash." The phone started ringing and I started buying and fixing up the bikes in my garage, then marketing them and selling them on eBay. The business grew like crazy, and soon I realized I had to develop other channels to find more bikes to sell. Well, since selling pre-owned is my specialty, I needed to source a lot more bikes, but I couldn't just call up a manufacturer and get another shipment. So I built relationships with all the local dealers, and I became their go-to guy for figuring out values on trades that they weren't familiar with. As the number of dealers calling me started to outpace my availability, I realized I needed to develop a better way to communicate with them. So I built Bank My Bike, so I could facilitate clear communication between the selling dealers and myself. The dealer submits information about a vehicle, we appraise it, and back up that quote with a buy guarantee. Prior to Bank My Bike, these dealers used multiple small wholesalers and value guides that they didn't fully trust. Auctions take a lot of admin and manpower to use, and they took too long for them to get their money back. With Bank My Bike, they get a guaranteed buy figure within minutes, keeping them safe and allowing them to make more trades. By creating a faster and easier way to value trades, we now have over 150 dealers using Bank My Bike, which also includes some smart automotive dealers who use us to take in motorcycles without worrying about making mistakes on the trade-in value. It's worth adding that until very recently, we never advertised Bank My Bike. The network was built organically out of the need from the local dealers. Until now, Bank My Bike was only feeding one dealership, ours. But being part of a 20 group made me realize there's a huge need for this service. After looking at other dealers' financials, I realized that many of them have some common problems preventing them from making the most of the opportunity. Many of them don't have enough space, cash flow, or expertise to do pre-owned correctly, and it hurts their bottom line. Experts I've talked with say the average EBITDA for the powersports industry is only 1 to 2%. Adding a robust pre-owned department to a dealership can have a massively positive effect on their bottom line, bringing them to 7 to 10%, as it is the most profitable segment of vehicle sales. This can be way bigger by building a two-sided marketplace that feeds multiple buyers while serving the need in the powersports industry that's not being met. There are a lot of dealers that need to find an expert buyer, as lack of new inventory has created a lot of pressure to sell pre-owned. Using Bank My Bike is like hiring the most knowledgeable powersports buyer in the industry. The powersports industry needs this service. We've proven the business model, and now we're ready to go big time. We have a great team, and that also includes Jack Greco, who is a co-founder of ACV Auctions, as an advisor. We're in the process of training our first field rep for the Midwest, which is a brand new territory for us. We just hired the former director of Eastern Powersports Auctions to increase our penetration along the Eastern Seaboard. And just last week, Triumph Motorcycles USA approved Bank My Bike as a vendor. They feel strongly that we can help their dealers take in more trades and sell more units. And some of the dealers that have been beta testing us with us have proved it. We'll be rolling this out to their entire dealer network shortly. We need smart advisors that know and understand the automotive and powersports market and investment to help us quickly ramp up this thing into something big. Are you in?
Excellent. Thank you. Nicely worked, Nate.
Thank you.
We will go to the judges. Judges, you have 5 minutes.
I just have a question on, I'm in the power sports arena. Are you adventuring out into RV and some watercraft and things like that, or are you sticking mostly with just power sport or motorcycles in general?
Right now, we serve the power sports industry and we are dipping our toe into the automotive industry. But basically, there is no reason why we can't empower all of those, RV, marine, motorcycle, and automotive, to be able to take motorcycles and trade. And quite frankly, the technology we have actually will allow, when the growth is enough and there are buyers in each of that segment, to all of those categories to cross-populate and help each other.
And you say you pay quickly. How do you have the funding to pay that? And what is quickly? Is that a minute or 2 weeks or?
It depends on the dealership where they're located. The local dealers usually allow us to give them a check when we pick up the vehicles, but some of the long distance stuff, we mail a check as soon as the deal is complete. So the dealers get paid quickly, even if the unit is still in their shop waiting to be picked up.
And you're still doing that by check or electronic funding, or?
Right now by check, but it just depends on the dealership. We can set up electronic, that's no problem.
Okay.
And you asked me another question. You asked, how are we funding that? We have a line of credit that we use, and that is one of the things that we're looking for investment money for, is because when this scales, we will outgrow that.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question to that, is what are you going to do if your business explodes, let's say, by this type of publicity around it? How do you handle it if you don't have the funding for it?
Well, the easy answer to that is find other buyers. And right now it services us, but as soon as we can get enough bikes coming through the system that we can't service or possibly get through our shop, we'll be adding buyers on that will have a massive opportunity.
Thank you.
Nate, I've watched experienced used car managers look at the same car and come up with valuations that are 100% at variance with each other. How do you handle a dealer's appraisal of a car being significantly different than what you see when you get there dealer's appraisal of a bike significantly different than what you see when you get there to pick the bike up?
Well, one of the things that we do, we empower our drivers to see the condition report that was submitted with that vehicle. That gives us an opportunity to address those issues prior to paying them for the vehicle, or prior to it being a complete transaction. And we have found that while there are differences, and that's always going to be, they're not massive differences in the power sports industry in the same way that you might find like a rusty frame on a car or something like that. And it's pretty easy to verify the condition of the bike once a driver sees it.
So you haven't had any of the dealers cussing out your drivers when they get there and have a different view of the car? You haven't had any fist fights yet?
No fist fights, but I can't tell you it hasn't happened. Honestly, what happens, the reality is you learn which dealers are very good at describing vehicles and you learn which dealers are not good at describing vehicles, and you just work with them.
So Hal, I think you bring up a really good point. So what do you do? I mean, how are you training all these drivers to know what to look for when they're picking up a vehicle? Because typically a driver is just literally a hired person that goes and comes and picks it up. That's a lot of training to educate them on what to look for.
Well, they communicate with the buyer. When they see a difference in the vehicle versus what they expect to see, they communicate with the buyer, and the buyer gets in touch with the sales manager, the owner, whoever was responsible for that vehicle. So we don't necessarily lean that heavily on the drivers to have to do any negotiating. They're the ones that just give us the indicator that it's not as described.
And from a data collection perspective, Nate, the data collection is done through a mobile device or through a desktop and entered by the dealer or the seller themselves. Is that correct?
We have multiple ways that a vehicle can get into the condition report. We have a form that a dealer can fill out, and that can be done on a desktop or mobile. We don't have an app, but we do have mobile friendly. We also have a dealer desk they can call in, and we will enter the information for them into the form.
Okay, and then when I get an offer from you, how long is that offer good for? What's the parameters around the offer that I get from you?
We're moving to 7 days. We've been doing 21 days, and we realize that's too large of a window, and we're moving to 7 days that the quote is good for.
Got it.
Great, perfect. Well, thank you, Nate, and thank you, Bank My Bike, for participating. We will now go to the judges. If you want to take a second and
Moment of truth.
give us your
Hey,
scores.
Nate, because this influences my score, by the way, Steve. Like, how many bikes are traded? Like, how big is the market?
Total, I don't have the number for that. I knew I should have looked that up. I don't have the total market. And there's a pretty big difference.
I was just trying to figure out, like, how big is it?
Yeah, I seem to recall it was a $2 billion industry overall, the entire power sports industry.
All right, judges, let's see your scores.
I'm on 0.5s today, Steve.
All right, great. There you go. Thank you, judges. Now it's your turn. We look forward to hearing your vote, and keep an eye on the AutoTech's Got Talent leaderboard on automotiveventures.com.